Hello everyone, my name is Gian and this is Wales FM Project Showcase. In this show we talk with founders and projects in the crypto art and NFT space, otherwise known as non-fungible tokens. Today we will be joined by Jennifer Chang from Playform Art, a platform to make AI accessible to all artists without having to learn technical terminology or how to code. Hello Jennifer, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me back on. This time
You're
I didn't
nervous?
wake up. Yeah, because I actually had time to prepare.
No, yeah. So if you guys remember, we had her before in the hot seat with Sturek, and we found out that she's really good with fast answers. But today she actually prepared a presentation for us, so I'm very excited for that. But yeah, thank you for joining us, Jennifer.
Thank you for having me again.
So whenever you want to start with that, I will be
Sure.
also having audience questions by the end of it. Thank you.
All right, that sounds great. So I'm just going to share my screen. Let me pull this up. Sorry about that. All right, let's get this going. All right, so my name is Jennifer Chang. I'm the CEO at Playform, and Playform is a no-code AI for creative people. Our platform empowers artists, designers, creators, basically anyone with creative vision to harness the power of AI to create original artworks without learning how to code. Even more extraordinary, we're able to do this with as few as 30 images. So you don't need 100,000 images to train an AI. So check out your new creative toolkit powered by AI. Playform has all these programs that you can use to train AI through visual inputs. You can train the AI to continue on an image set using freeform, or morph together two image sets to see all the different intersections between your image sets. You can transfer one style to another set of images. You can also mix faces and illustrations, and all this stuff's kind of going in real time here, so it's kind of fun to see. You could also upload a sketch and apply different styles or apply your own style. There's a lot of cool stuff in our sketch to image feature. Definitely check that out. And then we've also made video creation super easy within the platform. Playform also offers a studio program for creative entrepreneurs. So if art is your business and not just your hobby, this is for you. Studio members get unlimited sketch and mix. They also get 10 credits per month and additional discounts for additional credits. And so this in itself is a $60 plus value. And actually the studio membership is $50 per month and the credits roll over. And so for power users, artists who are really serious about focusing on their craft and their art and turning this into a business, particularly now with the fact that the NFTs are really unlocking a lot of opportunities for creative entrepreneurs. This is a program that we've developed specifically for them. You'll also get artist development through monthly artist consults. You'll get access to a community so that you can find other like-minded artists who are also interested in technology. And then we have studio hours where you can share what you're working on and get feedback. We also host group exhibitions, and if you participate, you get free platform credits, and so even more opportunities to get credits. And we also promote our studio members' work, as well as these group exhibitions. And the other really interesting perk is that as a studio member, you can pitch us exhibitions and projects that you want to do, and we consider those on more of a case-by-case. So you can learn more about that at playform.io/studio. So just to give you a better sense of what Playform actually is and how artists use it, I've selected a couple of different examples of artists' works that were created using Playform, because each of them really went about it in different ways that I think were really interesting. So first off, we have Sturek. Sturek is a whale community member, and you might have already caught this exhibition, My Brain on Drugs, already. We did another artist talk, as we just mentioned. And so, I'm going to just take you guys through it a little bit in case you missed it, but you can also go back to the other episode and see the full thing. So Sturek produced a series called My Brain on Drugs, which you see here, and I'm going to dive a little bit into her process. So it started with Sturek had all these MRI scans of her own actual brain, and she decided to upload them into Playform. Then she uploaded a series of her own works, which you see here. And then she put the two into Playform Creative Morph. And so you have the inspiration set, which informs the shapes and contours. And then you have the influence set. And that's going to be the style that it's going to try to move towards. And so by putting those two together, she ended up with this just like really interesting like series. There was like hundreds of images automatically generated through the AI. And then using the video tool, she was able to put together these clips using her favorite works from the AI output. She also did this with other image sets that she had. So this is another collection of work by Sturek, another here. And if you're interested in seeing more about this exhibition, you should go to playform.io/Sturek. You'll also see the full artist talk where Sturek goes through more details on how she actually put together this exhibition. So be sure to check it out there. The next artist that I'm going to talk about is Anthropomorph. And this artist has used Playform in a really unique way. So Anthropomorph is a social media creator who has built a following of over 65,000 on Instagram through a really visually unique persona who always wears masks. And so you can see here on their Instagram, they're wearing all these different kinds of masks. And actually, the artist does this themselves. And you can see that on the other side of the screen. They are actually creating these silicone masks themselves. So then the artist decided to do a photo shoot where they wore different masks that they had created. And then these images were fed into Playform. And the result was Unnatural Selections, a series of collectible artworks that provide all the potential AI created variations of anthropomorph personas. So this is kind of all based on the different mask inputs, the AI is able to generate even more ideas for potential masks for Anthropomorph. Anthropomorph selected 111 of these to put on sale at Playform Art Shop as collectible artworks and cards. And you can see the full exhibition here at playform.io/Anthropomorph. And then the last artist I'm going to talk about is Justin Maynard. And he used Playform in a really unique way. Justin is a visual effects artist, and he's worked on several major motion films like The Wolf of Wall Street, Tower Heist, Lego Movie. So he brought a really unique set of skills to the platform. So in his artist talk, he showed this really cool example I wanted to show everyone else, where he put in a bunch of photos, different images of nature. And then using Freeform, he generated all these different outputs. And looking at it, he kind of zeroed into this one little creature that had developed. And he took that creature, this little bird dinosaur looking thing, and he exported it, downloaded it from Playform. He took it to ZBrush and he used it as the base for sculpting the creature. And then he applied the texture and color that also came out of Playform onto this now 3D sculpture. And as you can see, playing within ZBrush, he's able to further enhance it. And this is just a really good example of how Playform actually, beyond creating, it's a really great tool for ideation and just coming up with new ideas as well. And so I wanted to make sure to share that with you. You can check out the full artist talk with Justin at playform.io/Justin. He goes into kind of just more detail about how he's been using Playform, ZBrush, Houdini, and some other 3D creative software to build just some of the most interesting 3D artwork out there. And so I think that's a great one for you guys to check out. So that's it about Playform. And my prompt now is, what will you create with Playform? All users get $15 in free credits. And so you can just go to playform.io, sorry, and get started free. You can claim your $15 in free credits and try out the platform for yourself. Thank you.
Perfect, but that's not it. We will have so much more to talk about this now.
Awesome, let's go. Bring it.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's so much to unpack here. I think one of the most important aspects that you touched is the fact that this is still a creative platform for the artists to create. It's not just something for the AI to produce, and then you have an end result, and that's it, right? There is a lot of experimentation. There is a lot of enabling artists to do stuff that they would not normally be able to do. And that also relates to the skill and experimentation process, right?
Yeah, you might want to just sit on that GIF, because it just kind of keeps going, and you can see all the different features in Playform. It's pretty fun to watch.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now, what I love here is this range of possibilities, right? It really shows that the artist's personality can shine through it, and the artist's skill. So how did you guys, and how does the technicality is involved and is refined to be able to produce a platform that an artist can express themselves through AI?
Yeah, so I mean, our focus really is, we are a technology company, and the founder of Playform is Dr. Ahmed El-Gamal, and he is the leading researcher in art and AI. He's a computer scientist who is really passionate and loves art. And so he applied his skills towards creating a platform that just really makes technology accessible. We don't really design Playform with a specific type of creative person in mind. This is a tool that can be used by graphic designers, visual effects artists. We're just really trying to make the Gian, the adversarial network technology, the machine learning capabilities, accessible by putting a front-end interface to it that allows people to interact as you would with just general consumer software, so that AI becomes more accessible. Prior to this, you would have to just write lines of different code. You would have to, I'm sure some of your audience actually has gone through that. And so it was just so much more complex and therefore not accessible. And that's what we're really focused on changing.
Definitely. But what I also have noticed is that although it is accessible, it does not take away from a high skill ceiling for artists to be able to express themselves. So yeah, you can see here, you can make something very simple and then you can get something pretty out of it. But the artist who put in the most work can push the boundaries even further, right?
Yeah, and that's really how we think about, the way we think about AI is that it's a collaborator. It's your assistant, right? If you've ever had an assistant or someone that works for you, they're only going to be as good as how well you train them, right? If you have someone working for you and you're just like a horrible boss and you're not really explaining how to do things, they're not going to be that productive. Likewise with Playform, if you're just not good at putting in visual inputs, like if you're like me and you just don't have that artistic creativity where you're able to come up with these wild ideas that our artists do, your output is just going to be reflective of that as well. So it's really about that input output piece. What you put in is going to be reflective of what you get out of it. It's just like training any assistant. You have to be a good trainer, not just have an assistant.
And as you said, there is stuff, for example, the guy using the person using the masks and the guy using it to produce textures that he can then apply on 3D platforms. I love the fact that it can actually be just a part of the process, not the entire process in itself. But it really translates to the creativity of them, right? I love that.
Yeah, and that's what I see. Like working with all these artists, they're able to think that way. They're able to think beyond. They know how to bring the different components together, and that's what I would just really challenge artists to do when playing with Playform. Think big. The power of AI allows you to do things that you couldn't have done before. And so I think the challenge is going to be for a lot of people is they're going to continue to think, it's a whole new way of thinking when you incorporate this level of technology. You have to think bigger. You have to think at another scale. And particularly, we're finding a lot of success with NFT artists because I think the early adopters of NFTs are just early adopters of technology. They're people who have that vision. They're able to see a new technology and think, oh, how do I put this all together? How do I leverage this? And so, as a startup, we're just so excited about the early adopters because they're the ones really pushing our product. They're the ones that are showing us new ways of using it and also challenging us in regards to like what more we can do with the platform. We're always welcome to feedback. We have a Discord channel where we have like feedback and ideas. And so for our users, if there's anything where you're running into a wall where you're like, I wish the AI could do this, like, please let us know. We have a lot more new interesting features that are going to be added to Playform over time. And as the experts in art and AI, we have the capabilities to build a lot of cool things. And so we want to keep that conversation open with our artists as well.
That's perfect. So you touched on an aspect here that I'm very curious about, but maybe I'm thinking of it wrong. But you tell me, like on the technical side of things, should we expect to get a considerably different result if we like get a minimal change in input, and also on the iteration process on your end? If you guys continue to improve on the platform, does that change the result that I would get by having the same inputs?
It would depend on what we're changing, but most likely, yes. So we are continuing to refine things like creative morph or style transfer, as well as adding kind of like new ways of transferring. Being able to, one of the things that we will be releasing is the ability to kind of give more direction to the AI. And so, yes, all of these are essentially inputs. And as we allow for more interaction and input into the AI, you will be able to have different results, even if it was the same image set.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. So the idea would be to like get it trained if you want to save the progress, and then if you want to try again and see what changed in the future, you can do that as well. You'll get an end result that is different, but you're not going to lose what you already worked on.
Yeah, and it's also really interesting because a lot of artists, like, just looking at the different ways that people use Playform, like they'll download things, then they'll re-upload it, and they'll take it from here to this next one. It's the creativity is crucial. Like we say Playform is for creative people because we're not really designing for any specific use case. We're really designing for functionality. And if you bring your creativity to the table, it's going to be like the product is completely different based on how you want to express yourself. All you need to have is creative vision. That's the one thing we cannot provide with AI. Maybe one day in the future, but I just think I think this is a uniquely human skill to just come up with these wild ideas. Like looking at this right now, my brain on drugs, like I wouldn't have thought of this. I would not have. All of the colors, textures, and influences coming from Sturck's actual artwork, and so that was all hand done, right? Or generated with computers, but it was done by an artist. And so there's really no one else that can create exactly the same as Sturck and import this in. So maybe you have brain MRIs too, and you're like, cool, I'm going to put them into Playform. But your results are just going to look different because your inputs, your vision, the way you curate, all of those things are going to be different from Sturck.
No, yeah, definitely. I love what you say there about like the creativity aspect. I was watching the other day, it's somewhat unrelated, but I was watching Gary Kasparov talk on AI, and he has been working closely with it since his defeat. But he said, yes, AI on chess is better than humans, but what is better than AI is when a human that's good is working together with that AI. So it's about mutually enabling, right? It's not about simply having the AI get to the end result, but rather working with human creativity to reach something that is even better. So this is definitely expressed here, and I love that.
Yeah, so around the time that I joined Playform, actually, I read that book Sapiens by Yuval Harari. I don't know if you're familiar with it. But like, I found that the really interesting thing he says is that like the one unique thing about Homo sapiens versus all other species is that we develop the ability to lie. And by that, he means we develop the ability to tell stories, whether or not they were real. And that's really what makes humans different from, you know, any other animal out there. And as of yet, I don't see the AI being able to, you know, do that yet, right? Like maybe one day they will and they'll take over the world, because that's really what put us on the top of the food chain. Not that we were so much more productive than other animals, but that we were able to tell stories. And I think that's just a really uniquely human ability. And particularly as we develop AI and, you know, all these things that can be more productive than us, like, you know, this Playform AI can create more images in 10 minutes than, you know, a normal artist can create in 10 hours. The AI is definitely more productive. But, you know, I see AI art out there that doesn't have a name, and I don't see a lot of value to it. People aren't spending a lot of money on AI art if it doesn't have a story. And so it really tells you that what people are buying, what people place value on it's not about like, is it pretty? Is it technically perfect? But what is the story? Who is the artist? Is this someone I connect with? Are they saying something that inspires me, that provokes me? You know, it's that human connection. And I just don't think you're going to get that with machine. And so if anything, as AI becomes more productive, I think humans need to become more human. We need to really tap into the things that make us unique. And, you know, according to Yuval Harari, who spent a lot of time researching it, the unique thing about us is our ability to tell stories.
Ability to lie, to deceit. That's terrifying.
Yeah, and I think that's the like the dystopian version, right? Like AI also learns how to lie and trick us. But you know, we're not there. That's really more of a sci-fi movie. At this point, AI is our assistant. AI is productive. AI can do a lot more than a human can do with our body. But the one thing that they can't do that is unique to humans is this ability to lie.
No, yeah, definitely. And there's also the fact that, like, yes, there's productivity, and then you can generate hundreds and then thousands and tens of thousands of images. But who is going to be telling which one of them has emotional or social and symbolic and cultural value is ourselves, right? Either by selecting or by selecting as an artist. Like this guy probably produced hundreds more that he did not use by the end.
Yep.
But why did he select these ones, right? Because they have meaning.
Yeah, so Matia Coutini is just one of the most interesting artists out there. We did this series with him, and he's been a Playform user since we launched. And so Matia, with this, actually, if you go into his artist talk here, he actually he created all of these using blocks, and so he hand created like a whole set of images, and then he fed them into the AI. And he got all these different versions. And then exactly like you said, he went through and he curated which ones he wanted to sell around this theme of defined and undefined. You know, what Matia really focuses on, and he tries to, like, he has kind of like this struggle between man and machine that's always present in his artwork. And so like he let the AI create the defined, you know, the ones that looked like the artwork he had put in. But then he was also trying to trick the AI into creating things that were undefined, even though his inputs had been defined. And so there's kind of like this man versus machine struggle, and it appears a lot in Matia's work. And the story and the kind of continuation of that story, I think, just makes his artworks just so interesting and powerful in a way that, yeah, we could have just gone in there and exported what the machine did. But what the machine did would have been all very defined, and, you know, it wouldn't have all of this kind of like glitch element that Matia was able to create by kind of fighting with the AI.
That's so cool. No, it has a very unique end result, and I love that. And when we see all those different artists and all these different results, it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's kind of like, how is it all created by one software? And I mean,
Hmm.
in a certain level though, like how is it all created by one species, right? Like just I feel like AI is just making us more creative because it's opening up new possibilities. And it's just really exciting to see the artists who get it and can find, just ways to unleash their creativity through this platform.
Hmm. And there is no problem at all if I want to get the end result and put as input, and then get that end result and put as a new input, and just keep going indefinitely.
Yep, exactly. Just keep going. Yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
exception. Amazing.
like, yeah, and that's the other thing too. A lot of the input is where the story comes from, right? Like you see that with Sita's work. It's not, you could just look at it and go, oh wow, this is like a beautiful piece of a brain, and like, like the lights and the textures, and you can just appreciate at that level. But when you actually hear the story of the input of what she put into it, that's where it gets really exciting. And that's why I think it's crucial. You need that storytelling, or I don't think you have art, you just have image.
And there is something that I often repeat myself here, but when you have like when you doing art, especially in the real world, but to some degree also digital, you're interacting with the media, right? If you using ink, you're interacting with reality and the behavior, the physical behavior of the ink. And one thing that this here has, and it's mind blowing to think of, is that you have the interaction with the media, you have the interaction with the AI, and you have this iterative process to get to an
Mhm.
end result. And it's
Yeah, so
it's
you'll
crazy to
see,
think of it that way.
yeah, so like you'll see artists that like you can run something on Playform and get more iterations of something, and then you move it into creative more, so you can morph it with a different image set, and then you take it somewhere else and style it with a different style. Like, like you can just keep going. And I think some of the artist talks we've done will be a good example of that. But yeah, all of these artworks that we're going through right now, these were all created by Playform. And none of them look similar. None of them look like they were even done by the same software. Some of them are pieces where they might have been, started in Playform and then taken out and then brought back in. And the way we describe ourselves, we're a creative toolkit, right? Like we're a tool for artists. We're not going to create for you. That's not the point here. We're going to be a tool that you can control without learning how to code, and create using the power of AI. Increase the productivity so you can focus on creativity.
Hmm. So, community wants to know, when will Playform accept crypto as payment for subscriptions?
That's a great question. That's actually something we've heard before too. So it's something that we're working on. And yeah, it's just always good to know, when you get multiple users asking the same question, that you should move it up on your product roadmap. And so thanks for that
Yes.
feedback. I'll go back to my engineering team and say, hey, we got another one, move it up.
Oh no, yeah, but when you get in the whale community, you're gonna hear that one a lot for sure.
Yeah. It's definitely like interesting to kind of just see the emergence of NFTs. Crypto artists were always part of our platform. We always knew that was a use case happening. But with just kind of the hype and craziness that's happened over the last couple of months, we're also seeing a lot of artists who weren't digital artists. They might be performance artists, or Instagram, or like just different kind of corners of the art world, seeing Playform as a way to enter digital art. Like as you saw with Anthropomorph, they are a kind of more of a persona sculpture, performance oriented artist, just, really a unique, Instagram creator, and not necessarily a painter. But using
Mhm.
Playform, they were able to take their works and their, like, just kind of the performance and the photographs and just the sculpture, and bring all of that in and create something digital that could be shared on the internet as digital art. And so I feel like that's becoming a use case that we're seeing more so than before Q1.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So also another community question. Do you guys have educational content or have creators within the Playform community started doing for tutorials or courses and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so we have tutorials throughout the platform, and so when you get into each of our features, so when you log in, you'll land in My Projects. From My Projects, you'll see all the different features, and then each of those features, there's a tutorial video on how to use it. We also have a Slack where you can go and ask questions, as well as a Discord. So there's information throughout the platform. And if you run into anything, there's a help button at the bottom, so you can just contact us, and we'll address those. And we really appreciate it when users reach out, because we are a new company. We are still learning what users need, and so the more interaction we get with users, the better.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the other thing to look at is our YouTube. We have a lot of artist talks on there, like the ones I've mentioned, and I think those are just a lot of fun because you can see how other people are using Playform. So we have the tutorials about how to use Playform, but if you want to see examples, I would go to our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, definitely check that out. I'm going to be posting the link in a bit. But why don't you tell us a little bit more about upcoming features that you guys have in the pipeline?
So I can't tell you about all of them because we want it to be a bit of a surprise, but we are going to have more features. So actually, one of the features we just launched is the ability to sketch and turn it into abstract art. So we have a few different capabilities with our sketch chart, like there's still lifes and landscapes and so on, but we just added an abstract one, so that should be a lot of fun for artists who want to kind of play with AI and do something like really unique and abstract. Another feature that will be coming out is the ability to upload your own style and upload your own sketch and fine tune putting the two together. The other really cool thing that you can do in regards to sketch, so just like another little pro tip that I've come across from an artist, you can take your images, you can go into style transfer and actually transfer your images into sketches. Then you can take your sketches and bring them into the sketch tool,
Mm-hmm.
and you can apply all kinds of stuff to it. So here you can see how you can sketch in the little box, but actually there's the ability now to upload your own sketch. And what I meant was you can actually create the sketch in Playform as well. So there's just so many different ways to use it. I really suggest looking at the tutorials and the artist videos just for some cool examples of what you can do with Playform. And then some other stuff that's coming up in the future, probably more like 6 months out. We're working on stuff around music. And so, having that audio visual aspect of it as well.
Ooh. Yeah, and also it's important, if you guys haven't noticed that, maybe we have focused a lot on the still images, but there's also video editing tools, right?
Yes. Yeah. So within the video editing tools, Stuart talked about it when we were on here. There's all these different effects you can do. It's just really, it makes videos really easy because the AI is going to give you all the possibilities. Look at all these images that I came up with. And then you can go through and you can just select the ones that you like. And then within that set, add effects to generate a video. And so all of that can be done within the platform, which is really exciting. And then we want to start adding, the ability to add music to that as well and have everything sync automatically through AI.
Perfect. You guys are gonna cover all the bases.
Yeah, I mean, our purpose is really to use AI for creative people and make it accessible. And so, our point of view is we're just going to keep pushing the boundaries. We want to keep finding, keep innovating. We're doing a lot of R&D and coming up with new different AI algorithms, which then create new functionalities that we can incorporate into Playform and then expose the input aspects so that artists can use it.
Mm-hmm. On the development side of things, I would like to, if you could share with us a few of the challenges that you guys have faced in the process of developing the tools.
So I'm not involved in developments, and I'm not really sure exactly what you mean by challenges. But
because I've never had troubles.
Yeah. So I'm not actually involved in the actual AI R&D, so I can't really speak to that. But I'm sure, as a platform that's designing for a lot of different use cases, we just really need to think about user experience and how to make that better. And so that's something that we're continuing to work on. We have very advanced technology, but it's really important for us to get user experience right so that we can help users use the tools in all these new creative ways. And so that's something that I would say is a continuous challenge for us, and something that we take very seriously, because that's really what our business is. Our business is making technology accessible and usable. And so, as users come into any problems or challenges or have any issues using the platform, please let us know, because we take all of that feedback very seriously. And it really helps us inform how to build Playform better. And that's something that we're continually investing in.
Really cool. What would be the most appropriate way to contact you guys in regards to making those suggestions?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, within the platform, you have a help button, so you can go there, and then there's an ability to send an email. Or we launched our Discord channel because we had a Slack channel, but we kept hearing from artists, we're on Discord, you need to be on Discord. So we listened. We're on Discord now, and there's ideas and feedback. And so if there's any issues that you come across, or any ideas, because the other really cool thing about working with creative people is they have so many ideas, and we really welcome them. So you can put that all into our Discord, and we check that regularly, as well as our engineering team.
You definitely need to be on Discord nowadays. It's a beautiful platform. I'm not there yet, but I'm gonna find this link and send to the community. Don't worry. Okay. So, we have a tough question here for someone within the community that is using Playform. He wants to know, what is Playform's stance on remixing and copyrights?
All right. Yeah, now we get into the fun stuff. Okay, so, this area of law is just really not defined yet. It's something that I think is going to continue to challenge us moving forward. But we as a company have our terms of use. And so that, that's our stance on the copyright. Legally, I'm seeing it to be a very gray area, but we kind of put our mark in the sand of what we think should be the standard. So if you are uploading artworks into Playform, like you would with any other social media platform, Facebook or whatever that, DCMA applies. And so we put the onus on the user to bring in images that they own and have the right to use, or that are free, right? So that's up to the user. Once the images are actually in the Playform platform, it's up to the default is that all collections are private, so you do not have to share it with the community. If you want to share it with the community, you have the option to make it public. Some people do that, because they want to share some of the images that they found, or maybe they have some artwork and they want to put it out there and see what will the community do with it. So default's private, but you can make it public if you want. And so that's about the inputs. That's DCMA. The actual outputs, all copyright belongs to the creator and the user, the artist, right? So Playform is not taking anyone's copyright. The copyright belongs to the person who created it, whoever that user account is. And so that's our stance. That's what's in our terms of use. And we really value the artist's creativity, and so we want to make sure that they can own all the work that they're creating. We do sell artwork, but it's always with artists because, like I said, you need the artist story. If we just we get in our Facebook comments all the time, oh, they're like trying to steal my art. And I'm like, yeah, I can't really steal your art because if I stole it and you're not participating with me and promoting it, how much am I going to sell it for? You need to have the artist involved. And so I don't really see a viable business model where an AI platform like ours could steal artist work, because you would just have a bunch of artwork with no artist, and the value of it wouldn't be very high because you don't have story, you don't have connection, you don't have an artist who's able to get on Whale Community and talk about her process. I won't get an artist video out of it. I can't reach out to potential collectors of that artist through their social media. And so there's just really no profit incentive for us to steal art. The copyright, from our point of view, belongs to the artist. We don't see a need to, we see no reason to have it if the artist doesn't want us to have it. And so that's our stance. But that being said, I think this is going to be an area of law, internationally, really, around copyrights and all of that. And I think just in general, I think the NFTs are going to also push that conversation further as well, right? Digital copyright is just something that I think has not been explored or really defined well enough. It's really something I think we're finding to be a challenge in this new age of social media. And I don't think it's just Playform. It's really something that I think the tech industry and governments really need to figure out.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, all things crypto, lots of gray areas, right? All things art, lots of gray areas as well. So you combine those new technologies and you're going to find yourself in a place that no one really knows, so it better be careful. But yeah, definitely. I think not only in regards to, I think we talked about something that I found really cool, at least when we were talking about this Turek thing, is that you guys work really closely with artists. And we haven't expressed yet the fact that you guys have a nice back and forth, and you guys bounce ideas off to be able to get the best end result and to be able to give as much exposure as possible, right?
Yeah. So in regards to that, our platform is accessible for we have thousands of users on our platform, and obviously we can't interact with each one one-on-one like that. So that's why we created our studio program. We also have a residency program where we select one artist per month. Sturk was one of them. But the idea here is we want to kind of expand the number of artists we can work with and create this community of studio members. At $50 a month, you get access to all the stuff that we are giving our residents, but to a larger group. And that way you can come to us and say, hey, I have this idea. I want to do an exhibition with my MRIs. Can you give me free credits? And then we can work out some kind of exhibition deal with you. But we need to be able to do it at a smaller level. And so that's why we created the studio. That way the artists who are the most serious, that see the value of paying $50 a month because they're using it that much, we can closely collaborate with them. The way I see it is just this is just such a new industry. We're still really defining it. And Playform, I think we want to be part of this new digital art revolution. We've created a technology that makes this really accessible for people. And the best way to participate, in my in our opinion, is to watch the industry grow by working alongside the artists. I think this whole, the NFT thing is just so exciting because it unlocks the value of digital art, but we are just so early. This is the beginning, right? I think that right now, there's just such a high expectation of NFTs. Everyone thinks they're gonna put one thing out and it's gonna sell for 69 million people. But no, people worked on this for 5 years. It's called the Everyday Collection for a reason. And I think more and more artists will achieve that level of success. But I think it's really crucial for artists to be patient and really focus on contributing to the community and the development of this new sector, as well as just working on their craft, looking at what other artists are doing, coming up with new original ideas, and really pushing the boundaries, because this industry is going to be different. It's not what it looks like today. It's going to be completely different. And I think that I'm personally really excited about this company because we get to go along on that journey.
Yeah, right. I think a lot of people don't realize that we only had what would be like a first contact with the mainstream. This is not what mainstream adoption looks like. This is just
Exactly.
like, okay, this is the first time that this is actually being talked about, but there is so much more until we get to the point where people are familiar with, where people have experienced this by themselves, and where collecting and producing art is not reserved for a very small subsection of people. Because as our lives get more digital, as our work gets more digital, there is still a lot of attrition, but this is being reduced over time, and we will finally reach the point where people can finally consume and produce art in, like, everyone can, right? Because it's not there yet.
Yeah, so I consider myself like tech old. Like I've I've been in the tech industry for a while now. And actually back in 2007, I wrote my master's thesis on online video and YouTube. And so 2007, YouTube had been acquired by Google, but it was like this platform. And I was working at Disney as well, and I was looking into the different creators that were already starting to come up in YouTube. And they weren't really going anywhere. They had a few followers, but in 2007, most of YouTube was cat videos. The number one video on YouTube at the time was that evolution of dance video where the guy does all these different dances. That was the level of kind of content on YouTube in 2007. And I wrote my master's thesis on it about what could content turn into as a result of this online video platform. Around niche audiences and more direct interaction. I wrote all this stuff about what could happen, but concluded none of it was really happening yet. And then I just kind of kept watching the industry, and none of it was happening, and none of it was happening. And I'm just kind of like, dude, I wrote my thesis on this and nothing's happening. I got really frustrated. But then in 2014, I went to VidCon. And if you haven't been to VidCon, it's like this convention center. It's full of YouTubers. There's probably over 10,000 people there. I don't really know how many, but it was just there's 13-year-old girls running all over the convention center, and they're just screaming and chasing their favorite YouTubers. It was like this crazy frenzy. And I realized, oh my God, everything that I said was going to happen happened. It just took a generational shift. The 13-year-old girls who were running around VidCon were 6 when I wrote my thesis. But in those years between 6 and 13, as they were introduced to content, they were watching stuff on YouTube, they were watching stuff on iPads, iPhones, TVs, computers. And when I would talk to these teen girls, they just didn't have this they're like, oh, I love Modern Family and Ryan Higa. And they don't see the difference. It seemed like they were all kind of in the same category of entertainment for them. And then the other interesting thing, which is just kind of my kind of advice for NFT artists. The other interesting thing I noticed at VidCon was the people that I had seen on YouTube in 2007 were at VidCon. Back in those days, no one paid attention to them, Ryan Higa, Sexy Phil, Young Turks, they had channels. Some people followed them, but they weren't, they had thousands. 2014, they're at VidCon with millions of followers, mobs all around them. They're making millions of dollars. And it was just incredible to see wow, they stuck with it. They made it. They created this industry. And that's what I foresee for NFTs. That's why I'm really excited about being part of this, because and being a platform that empowers artists through this, because I've seen this happen through other kind of content platforms and other cycles. And I think that it's really crucial for early adopters to really just stick with it. It's going to be a frustrating ride. It's not going to be oh, I put something out there and I'm a millionaire now. But I do believe that technology, digital platforms reward early adopters. And so I think the artists who are on here now are going to be the artists that in 5-10 years are going to be leading the industry. And so just get in, buckle your seatbelt, and enjoy the ride. It's going to be a tough one.
No, yeah, I think first of all, it must have been amazing to see your thesis confirm itself. Just took more than expected, but no, yeah, definitely agree with you. I think a lot of stuff changes as you say, the generational shift. Having people grow with the technology is completely different than being the people who saw it being born itself as you were with an adult, because they can't differentiate, right? It was something that was already in their world. Kids nowadays, like YouTube, is as any form of entertainment, really. And so, go ahead.
When you talk about NFTs with someone who's like in their 50s or 60s, they keep asking me like, but how do I enjoy my art? Like, I need to print it. I need to have it somewhere. And I think, meanwhile, though, if you look at people that are like, in their teens and 20s, they're probably just used to having everything in their phone. They're used to seeing everything on Instagram. And so just the mindset is going to be different. And, I also think it's going to create new genres of art. Like if you look at what's successful on YouTube, it doesn't look like television, right? It's not the same. And so I feel like what YouTube has done is created this whole other category of content, new ways of thinking about content and interaction, that just television never really even did, and television essentially cannot do. And that's the other thing I think artists should think about. Don't try to be like other artists. Be your own artist. Invent something new. Create a category. I think that's what, if you look at some of these, like Michelle Pham, like makeup, doing makeup tutorials, you would never see makeup tutorials on ABC, but she's built this entire empire of it. Think outside the box. Challenge tradition. Challenge the norms. Create something new. I just think there's just so much opportunity for creative people right now. It's so exciting. And, Playform is a tool that all of you guys can use to just expand and think bigger, and, increase your output. So we really welcome NFT artists to our platform. We think there's just kind of like a perfect marriage between AI and blockchain. And so that's where we stand.
That's perfect. It is as you said, YouTube was never had the same format of content, and NFTs and art will not have the same form of content that they used to have. And for generative art, yes, it has been a bit, but it really found its home in NFTs, right? So we should not expect this to take shape as the things of the past did. It's always something new, right?
Yeah, so like back in like 2007 and 8, when I was writing my thesis, there was like a lot of people, like, Michael Eisner was one. They were all trying to create like television content for the internet. So like, I don't know if anyone is old enough to remember this series called Quarter Life, for example. The guys who produced it actually ended up becoming my office neighbors. But they were the same people who did My So-Called Life, and they thought, okay, we'll create like a new version of this for people in their 20s. We'll put it on the internet because that's where millennials are. And like, no one cared. They tried to put it on television because no one cared. It didn't work. And I think they made the classic mistake of trying to take television and put it online, right? They were thinking like, oh, this is the same, like, we're going to create that content. We'll just make it shorter and put it on YouTube. And that didn't work. Whereas, like I mentioned, what did end up working is bloggers, makeup tutorials, how-to videos, unboxing videos, like, just these totally new categories of gaming, streaming. I worked with a YouTuber once who just completely made YouTube videos of Minecraft. Like, there's all these like different new categories, like, of people who are able to create content that would never have existed on terrestrial television or even cable television. But they were able to find this new platform and this new medium to generate new ideas of things that could be content.
It's also an end result of the accessibility, right? TV show has a lot of production and has to be selective with what it's showing. But when it's all about what people can actually do by themselves and what they actually want to put in there, everything goes. And then it's a free for all for people to tell the algorithm, hey, listen, this is what we want to watch. And it can be something that people never expected. As you said, unboxing of all things. Like, who would have guessed that that could be successful? It's crazy, and I love that.
Yeah, like, I mean, unboxing is a very successful category within YouTube, and yeah, like, I mean, if you saw someone just opening boxes on television, like, yeah, they wouldn't have done that. So, yeah, I think I'm really excited to even see what happens in the NFT art world, because I don't think we know.
No, we don't. We don't. And if anyone says that they do, they lie. They're just overly hopeful. No one knows, but it's definitely going to be beautiful. It's definitely going to be crazy. And
Yeah,
I love
because
it. Just say, like, stick with it.
yeah, just stick with it, because you'll find out, and you're not gonna learn if you don't participate in creating this new industry. And yeah, like, I mean, the people that I saw at the beginning, like Ryan Higa, he was like a high school kid, like posting videos. No one really understood why. And I think by the time like 2014, he was like, I think it was like 20 million followers by then for some reason. I want to say 19. And I think a lot of that was because he was just there the longest.
Of course. Of course. Dude, this is incredible. I'm looking through stuff, and
you can also go to create.playform, and you can see another gallery actually. If you go back to the home page, or just click on login. And then click up at the top, you see explore.
oh,
there you go.
Oh,
there's even more.
Oh, I love this. I
Yeah,
can't believe
so
it didn't
there's
got me here.
There's a piece there by Justin, one of the artists I mentioned. There's Matia again. And yeah, if you just if you click on it, they're gonna force you to log in so you can see it bigger. But you can just kind of keep scrolling, and there's or do we need login now to see the rest of it? But yeah.
I should have made an account. My mistake.
Well, $15 in free credits when you do, and so yeah, make sure to get in there.
So yeah, before we end this, we probably should go through pricing. I think it would be good for people to have an idea on how that's working as of right now.
Yeah, so scroll all the way to the bottom, and there you see a little link that says price. Oh, whoa, where'd you go? Do you see pricing? Create. Oh, at the footer.
I'm sorry, I'm completely lost.
If you just scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see that there's a pricing link right there. It says pricing.
Oh,
yep, there it is.
I cannot read. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, so our pricing is very accessible, and there's, because we want it to be useful for all kinds of artists, regardless of how their business model might work. We have a few different ways that we price. So first off, we give you $15 free credits when you join, and you can use some of you see 10 sketches and mixes and 5 mix videos. So you can get a sample of what it is, because in our experience, a lot of people don't realize what is Playform, what is AI. And so this gives you a little taste of it. If you want to keep training and you want to keep using the platform a la carte, you just pay $5 per hour of training. And so that's for people who are kind of like, I want to do a project here or there, not going to use it that often. So that's for the a la carte model. Plus,
your audio, something happened there with your microphone. We cannot hear you, but I believe you're muted as well.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Oh, no, it's working. Perfect. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so in regards to the plus tier gives you unlimited sketches and mixes, which are just really fun tools. For artists who are just kind of like using it to like mess around and like play, this is a really good package for them.
It allows you to download your upscaled results, and as I mentioned, for $10 you get all of that unlimited sketching and mixing, and then you can pay for training for 5 hours per hour. So these are the features for freeform, morph, and style transfer, but all the other features around mix and sketch would be unlimited. And then you have our Pro tier. Pro, I think, works really well for people who are going to use it frequently, particularly graphic designers and stuff like that. So you get 5 training hours per month, which roll over month to month. So you can start building up a bunch of credits for like a big project, or you can just do a few little projects per month. And then you get your future credits discounted at $3.50. And so this is for like high volume users, but not necessarily artists, maybe, graphic designers and stuff like that. And then our studio opportunity, this is really where we designed this package for artists who are very serious about their craft and turning it into a business. And so I think it's really applicable for NFT artists. So you get all the features, the unlimited sketch, and you get 10 free training credits per month, and those roll over month to month. And so you can use them, you can save them, and it's kind of like your phone bill, it just keeps rolling over. And then you get the discounted training credits there too. But the real additive part here is also that you get the studio membership, which I talked about at the beginning.
Definitely really, really accessible. And there is this free tier for everyone to get a taste of it. So I recommend everyone should check it out. Even the paid, it's not like it's cheap. Let's be honest. It's nothing insanely expensive. It just makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, we want it to be accessible. We want it to be something that artists can use as a tool and really grow their craft and their businesses. I think we're just at this cusp of like a creative entrepreneur revolution, right? You already saw it with YouTube, the ability for creators to go direct to audiences, and then Instagram came around and that, took it to another level. Hashtag OOTD, let's sell clothes, let's be fashion models. And then now I think it's really hitting the art community because we have this new technology with blockchain that's going to make it possible to commercialize digital art in just new ways. And like, let's just see what happens. It's going to be communities like Whale Community who are going to really experiment and share and collaborate and create, a whole new industry. And I hope you guys are all as excited as I am about it, because I think it's going to be really game changing.
No, I definitely am, because I'm sure that you guys will have future developments that we will be able to talk again. You guys will have new and amazing artists coming into the NFT space. And I love that. It's always a pleasure to talk with you guys. It's the second time already. So I'm really thankful for you, Jennifer, coming here. And yeah, I cannot stress this enough. For free, go and try it out. And then if you really like it, it's not expensive. We're talking about so many features that one could expect this to be one of those $2,000, $5,000 apps, but it's not. So definitely give it a try. It's worth every cent. Thank you so very much, Jennifer. And I think we might be seeing each other again in the future with new artists. Right?
Okay, well, yeah, please, check out playform.io, start using the tool, join the studio. We'd love to work on exhibitions with you and come back on Whale Community and talk about those too.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much. And thank you for the community for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.